Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com.
Okay, if you look at this diagram, there has to be some power button somewhere, okay, which can turn off and turn on your router. Look at this. Look at this. There is a power button. Correct? This is a perfect diagram that I can take the cable. This is a console cable which I connect to the router. It could be this. It could be this. Correct? Any either way, I can connect it. No problem. There is a power button available on Cisco router. But let me tell you one thing. On your Cisco switch, whatever catalyst or switch is nothing but a catalyst, any Cisco switch which you are using that does not have any power button at all. You will come to know why. Okay, but currently that does not have any particular power button at all. Correct? So remember that this is a surprising. I can turn off and turn on the router, but there is no turn off and turn on button. I believe that I do have some switch diagram over here somewhere. You can see on the back of it, you will not be able to see any power button at all. It is simply just a port. There is no power button for the switch. Okay, you can see this is a catalyst. You can see there is no turn off power button at all. I will get console port, I will get everything. You can see this is the best view. This is the power wire, but won't be able to see any power button at all. You can look at the back panel of it. You won't be able to find the power button. Okay. There is a main switch of the power. That means which is coming from our wall. Correct. But there is no power button attached to your Cisco switches. Okay. Now further we will discuss about one more port is available called as auxiliary port. Okay, we will talk about auxiliary port on the Cisco devices as well. It is also do the same purpose. We were talking about auxiliary port as well, okay? Because on the back of the router or on the back of the switch there is a admin port, and in that admin port we are getting auxiliary console or auxiliary port as well. Now what is auxiliary port? Auxiliary port actually used for remote administration. Okay, that means what you can do with the console port, the same thing can be done with the auxiliary port. The only difference between is remote administration. That means what I supposed to do it, what I will do it actually, I will show you. Okay, now this is what we can think good. This is the auxiliary port which we are talking about. Well, once again, this is nothing but this is your RJ45. But once again, I will tell you the story behind it. This auxiliary port is for your actually remote administration. This console port is for what? Your local administration. What I told you, that if you are inside the data center, you're physically present in front of that particular router, then I will take the cable from this console port and connect it to the computer. Correct? I told you there are different type of console cable is available. Nowadays, there is a mini console. A USB is also available as a console. Correct? So there are different way, but I'm supposed to be present in front of that particular device. Correct? But if I'm not present there, I'm outside, but I would like to do whatever I can do with the console from remotely. I want to do the initial configuration. I want to reset the password as well. Correct? But I'm not there in front of the device. I'm somewhere outside your particular network. I'm somewhere outside some data center. Then how do I connect it? Then auxiliary port comes into the picture. Then what I need to do, I need to call somebody from the data center and ask that particular guy to connect a cable from auxiliary port to the internet modem. Correct? Whatever modem which is available, based on that particular modem, I will ask them to connect a wire from the modem to the auxiliary port, and I will take the remote of this particular device the same way I can do it with the console, and I can configure it. However, this method is not reliable in terms of security. People are not using auxiliary port for remote administration. We will tell you what is the other option is available, but this is not a reliable method to do the remote administration. Correct? Second thing is, does not support high speed internet connection. It does not support high speed internet connection at all. Means whatever modem which you are using, that should be a limited bandwidth, what we can say for that particular thing. Correct? So understand, this is a very, very important thing. We were talking about admin ports for your particular Cisco devices, which is a console and auxiliary. Console port, I told you it is for local administration, for initial configuration of the device. Whenever a device is purchased, I am supposed to do that administration. The only problem is I need to take the cable from that device and connect it to my laptop. If my laptop does not have the serial port or a COM port, I should be able to use mini USB option. I do have a console cable which one end is USB, another end is my particular RJ45. There are multiple choices are available. Okay, so these are external ports which you required in order to connect your devices. Is that clear, all of you? Any doubt in this? Okay, what we have seen so far, what is the different type of routers? What are the different type of switches? What are the different external ports are available on the router and switches? What is the purpose of that particular port? What is a modular router? What is a fixed routers? Correct? What are the different type of ports which we have? Fast Ethernet or something? Correct? These all are external connection which is available on your Cisco devices. So any given point of time, if you look at the device in your data center, you can see how the things are connected. You can easily understand now. Correct? Is there any doubt in this? If you have any doubts, kindly put that particular doubt in the chat box. Or if you do not have a doubt, we will proceed with internal components of your router now. or switch, both are same. Is it clear to everyone? Okay, thank you Divya for responding on a chat. Thank you Chaitra. Okay, good. So these are the different physical ports which is available in the router. Correct? Now let's talk about internal components of your router. Okay, now look at the internal component of my router. Now this is common. If you look at the internal component of the switch, you will find the same component. If I say internal component of Cisco, this is a best diagram. This is not good. This is good. Let me see the best diagram which you can. Okay, this is a good diagram. Now, if I open up the any particular router, actually, I will be able to get something like a motherboard or something like this type of structure. Actually, to be honest, our router is nothing but it is a server, but that server, the responsibility of that server is to manage only the network. Correct? So it looks like if I open the computer, I may get multiple components inside any particular computer. Same thing would be available inside your particular router as well. Router do have its own CPU. It does have its own operating system. Correct? The only reason the difference between would be the router do have its own operating system which is configured for in order to create your particular networks. It's completely based on network. Otherwise, hardware components are too much complex, which is equivalent to our computer. Correct? Now let's look at into this computer. Now we don't want to go each and every component, to be honest with you. We would like to only discuss about one major set of components which we actually require to understand. Okay, I will going to open this and I will tell you what are those. Okay, so I will say internal components of router or switches, both are same. Okay, now the first component we are interested in is called as ROM. That is nothing but read only memory. Correct? This is the first component. If you will look at the diagram, somewhere here there is a memory called as read only memory. This is called as ROM. This is very important. Okay, second memory structure or second thing would be available. It's called as flash card or flash memory. Okay, if you look at this picture carefully, there is a place called as compact flash card. Okay, compact flash card means it is a small card which we are using in order to put inside the system. It's a flash card. Okay, again, I will tell you. Cisco flash card.
Hey viewers, our Master in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
You can see this is a flashcard, and this is how we can put inside the Cisco devices. There is a small button. If I push that particular button, it will come out. Correct? These are Cisco flashcards. So I do have a place where I can put my Cisco flashcards. Correct? So this is a very important internal component which is called as flash memory, where I can put my flashcard of a specific size. Correct? After that, I do have a very important component called as Nvram. Okay? Nvram is a non-volatile RAM where I'm going to store the information permanently over here. So this is the third component which is actually available inside your router and switches. And the fourth component is called as, okay, these are four major components are available in your Cisco devices. Now read only memory. Now read only memory, it's just for reading purpose. Correct? It contains a bootstrap program. It contains bootstrap program. In other words, we do have a BIOS in our computer. Correct? Same thing is available here also. We do have a BIOS in on the router and we can call it as ROM. And it contains a fixed program and we can call it as a bootstrap program. Now, what is the purpose of this bootstrap program? This bootstrap will find out where is my Cisco operating system, that is where is Cisco IOS. Correct? If I would like to see in our BIOS, our first boot device is hard disk. Correct? When my machine will turn on, my BIOS will come to know that, okay, I need to read everything from the hard disk because that would be my first boot device. Correct? Similarly, whenever I turned on my router, my ROM, it's nothing like it's act like a BIOS. It does contain a program called as Bootstrap. That Bootstrap will tell me where is Cisco IOS located, where I should boot my router from. Correct? So that program is located over here. Now after that we will see how booting process is actually start. But what we can contain in ROM, it is nothing but it's a bootstrap program which will help us to find out where is my Cisco IS, where should I search for. Correct? Second is a flash memory. Flash memory, I show you, it is a flash memory card where your actual Cisco IOS is located. Means, in a simple word, the operating system of your router. It is contained on this flash memory card. This flash memory card would be inserted into the router. There is a small button which I can push it and it can come out. So it's like a pushable device which I can put inside the inside your particular router. If you can see in this particular diagram, which we have seen already, but I will show it to one more time. So this is how I'm going to push it. Correct? I'm going to push. Now there are different sizes are available. Correct? 64 MB, 255 MB. Now, based on your size of the operating system, I am going to push this particular card inside. Correct? It's like a hard disk, to be honest, but this is not the hard disk which we are talking about. This is something completely different. It is very fast device because this is a memory card. Correct? So definitely it is very fast, and I will put the operating system on that particular flash card, and I will put that particular flash card inside your router. Correct? So this is very important. So flash card is actually contained your operating system. Correct? It is having a different sizes based on your what is the size of your operating system. I can take that card and put inside your router or switches, whatever options which we have. Correct? That's great. Whatever. Okay. Now that is a function of my flash memory. Then third thing would be Nvram. This is called as non-volatile RAM. Now all the configuration, now remember that all the configuration of the router, correct? I want to save that configuration permanently. Okay, if I do some IP addressing, if I configured anything, correct, and I want to save whatever configuration which we have, correct, all that configuration I need to save it permanently, because what happen if I reboot my router, what will happen if that particular configuration is wiped out? Then it is difficult. So if I configured my router, whatever configuration which we can done, I want to save all that configuration into your memory permanently, and the memory who can store that particular configuration, it's called as Nvram. Correct? Sometime when we actually start configuring, there is a concept which we are going to see that is called as startup config. Okay, this Nvram can be used by another name called as startup config. So startup config is nothing but your Nvram. Whatever you can see under startup config, that means you are accessing your Nvram and you are accessing all the permanent configuration of your router. You turn off your router, turn it back on. While your router is turned back on, he will understand, okay, my startup configuration, which is a permanent configuration, would be stored into Nvram. He will take that configuration and he will load all the configuration into your router. Correct? So all the configuration of the router or the switch which I want to permanently stored somewhere, and that particular memory we called as Nvram. We can call it as startup config. Correct? Now there is one more RAM is there, that is called as random access memory. Now this is also going to do the same thing. He is going to save or store all the configuration of the router, but I will call it as this is temporary. Okay, all the temporary configuration of any particular router or the configuration which I'm doing on the runtime, correct, all that configuration, runtime configuration, would be saved in my RAM. Correct? This is a temporary. If I done some changes in a runtime and if I reboot that particular changes, that particular change which I have done in the runtime, which is a part of RAM, it would be wiped out, because that is not the permanent change which I have done. I will also call it as, this would be as running config. This would be considered as running configuration. So people ask me, can I store this running configuration permanently? Yes, I can take this configuration and store it into Nvram. We will see that there is a specific command line for that. Correct? So I can store this configuration permanently if I want. Correct? So understand how these things are actually interconnected with each other. There are 4 different type of memories. Every memory do have its unique function. Okay, now that function you would be able to understand when we are actually start talking about its booting process. Whenever any particular router boots or a switch boots, actually based on his booting process, you will be able to understand how these devices are actually helping each other in order to start the router. Now, the very first step in a booting process is called as post. Now, this is common everywhere. That is nothing but power on self test. So let's say if I go and turn on my router or any switch, what would be the first step? He will go for power on self test. Power on self test is a single meaning. My particular device will send some power to every connected modules or whatever devices which are connected. My computer is sending the power to that devices, and based on the results which are coming from those devices, he will come to know that all devices are attached properly or not. Correct? He will send some signals in terms of some power. He will start sending some power signal to all the connected devices, and that devices would respond him back, and based on that response he will come to know that yes, all the things are intact. Now let's move ahead. Correct? Same mechanism is available in the router. Router also do the power on self test. Whatever modules which you have attached to the router, all the modules will receive the power signals initially from the your router. Whatever response which he get from those modules, router will decide whether that device is properly connected or not. That is the first step. Correct? If this first step is done, he will go and start reading ROM. After this step, the second step would be the ROM. Now I told you what is there in the ROM. The ROM contain a bootstrap program. This is my BIOS of your router or switch. You can say anything. Correct? Now this particular BIOS contain a bootstrapping program. Now bootstrapping means what? That bootstrapping will inform you that where is my operating system, where should I boot the operating system from. Correct? Now by default in bootstrapping there are 3 options are available based on the priority. The first option, to boot your operating system from flash. I told you what is a flash now. Second option is to boot your operating system from TFTP server, from external device. Correct? And the third option would be boot your operating system from ROM. Now, you told me it's confusing, sir. How come ROM is coming here? Does ROM contain the operating system? Okay, I will tell you. There is mini iOS. Okay, sometime if your main operating system is crashed, there is an option. Now this menu iOS is something you can say a command line program which contain a very basic thing. It's like a CMOS, a BIOS program which we have on the computer. Same kind of thing which is available in the ROM, but it will not initiate at all. If I would like to do any troubleshooting, if I would like to go for password recovery or that kind of stuff, then only I will boot my system from ROM. Correct? It's an BIOS based operating system. You can say it's a firmware, but this is not the router operating system. You cannot do routing with that operating system at all. It's called as mini iOS, which contain only some functionality, not all. Correct? So what exactly happened? When my post is finished, power on self test is finished, I will go to the ROM. Bootstrap program will get executed. Bootstrap program will try to find out the operating system of that Cisco device on the flash first. Okay, that means this is the flash memory. If the flash is present over there, he will boot the entire operating system from the flash.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Correct? If flash memory does not have the operating system at all, then he will go to look for any TFTP server. TFTP server means I do have an external computer with TFTP software installed, and I do have a Cisco IIS on that computer. It's something like boot from your network device. Correct? So my router will read that particular operating system which is located somewhere else over the network with the help of TFTP software. Correct? It is, if it is not able to find out that one, then I will load my mini iOS. Mini iOS, I told you, it is only for few activities which you can do on the router and switch. It does not contain any operating system. It is only for diagnostic and troubleshooting purpose. But 99% people always prefer to put their operating system on the flash, because this is the fastest way to boot your operating system properly. TFTP is the option in a larger network where I do have some set of server where I can load all the iOS of all the routers, and every router I will inform him that whenever you want to boot, you can take your operating system from this TFTP, which is an external server. Correct? Now remember that the flash memory will load that operating system into RAM. Okay, this is the RAM. I will load this entire operating system from that flash into RAM. Correct? That's fine. After that, I do have a Nvram. Then I will start reading my permanent configuration which I want to load now. Correct? So remember that my entire flash memory, which I took it from my flash, load it into the memory. Some space he will take it from the RAM. After that, whatever configuration which you have done, which is permanently stored, correct? He will read that particular configuration from Nvram and try to load that configuration and try to apply that configuration, all that configuration to your operating system of your Cisco. Correct? So you can see first step is power on self test. Second test is going to the ROM to ask to execute the bootstrap. Bootstrap will execute it. He will try to find out the operating system on the flash. Then he will start reading the flash. He will try to load this flash and put entire operating system into RAM. Correct? The same thing which we are doing in our computer as well. Whenever we turn on the computer, our entire operating system kernel is actually loaded into memory, our main memory. Same concept is here. Whatever operating system which is available on the flash card, all the operating system components would be loaded into main memory. Then The next step is try to find out the configuration which is permanently stored. Then whatever configuration is available over here, he will try to load that configuration to the RAM, and he will make sure that all the configuration should be up and running on the router now. Correct? So everything would be running from the RAM at this moment of time. That's why it is called as running configuration. I am doing the changes into the running configuration. Remember that. If I modify anything, I would be doing everything onto the running configuration, because I am modifying what? I am modifying RAM. If I would like to save this configuration, now I'm not doing any changes in operating system. I'm doing configuration. So if I would like to save any running configuration to Nvram for permanently, so next time if I reboot it, whatever changes which I have done, it should be permanent. That is possible. I can store that information into Nvram, no problem. But understand how this booting process are work, along with some internal components which we need to understand. Now both the router and switches, both are same. There is no difference at all. That this is router, I'm talking about router. That means switch do have some other way around. No, switch is also doing the same thing. Switches also have the same internal component as well. Switch is also having its own operating system, but it's Cisco operating system. Correct? But it is main process would be same. There is no difference at all. Correct? So understand what are the internal components you need to read it. ROM, read only memory. Flash memory, it's an external flash card which I can put operating system on the top of it, and I will push and I will insert that flash card into my router or switches. Nvram, it's a memory where I will store my all the permanent configuration of that device. And RAM, this is my you can say memory where I will load my operating system as well as the permanent configuration from Nvram. Correct? So these all type of memory along with the booting process. What is the booting process says? He said first, whenever any particular device turned on, the post will happen. Power on self-test. I said, okay, no problem. Power on self-test will do the same thing which he normally do with the computer. He will send some power signals to every attached device, and he will be waiting for the response coming from that device. If he received that particular response, then he will come to know that yes, all the devices are properly attached and they are functioning. Then the next step is he will go and ask ROM, please execute your bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is nothing but a program. Then ROM will start executing that bootstrapping program. Now bootstrapping program help us to find out where is iOS, and we will try to load it. Then according to the bootstrap, he will go and search for flashcard to find out whether my operating system is available in the flashcard. Let me go there. The second option would be if there is no operating system, there is no flashcard, then the second option in bootstrapping would be he will try to find out, oh, maybe that it is available some external computer where TFTP software is installed, and he will give me that particular operating system externally. It is not attached to me. It is attached to, it is the copy of that file is somewhere in other machine, and I am loading that. Then he said, okay, let's try to contact it. The third option would be if both the option is not fine, then ROM do have its mini iOS. Okay, we can call it as mini iOS. Now I told you already this mini iOS only contain basic debugging troubleshooting feature. It does not contain any additional feature at all. It's a simple thing, safe mode in our computer. which only gives you command prompt. It will not give you anything else. Same thing, mini iOS is nothing but safe mode of your router, where you can change the password, where you can troubleshoot few things. Correct? This is the same thing. But we assume that 99% people are putting their operating system in the flash card. In a bigger environment, yes, possibly you will see the operating system running on TFTP server. But we will not consider that. In our case, we will say it is available on flash. So he will load the entire operating system where? In the memory, in my main memory, which is called as RAM. Correct? This is the RAM which we are talking about. So what he did, he actually load the entire operating system into the RAM. Correct? After that, he will go and check for permanent configuration. Correct? Permanent configuration means the configuration which you have permanently stored inside your router. Correct? Now that particular configuration would be stored in Nvram. Then finally Nvram will load all the configuration once again into main memory, and my router or switch will be turned on properly. I will show you with the help of emulator how it looks like and what are the components which we can see. Correct? But whatever you would be doing or whatever which you are doing, it is on the RAM, which is nothing but my running configuration. I'm doing only the changes into configuration. I'm not modifying any operating system at all. So whatever changes which you are doing, that is the running copy of the configuration. If I want this running copy to be saved as a startup copy, yes, I could do that. So next time, whenever that particular device will turn on, whatever changes which you have done, it should be applied from Nvram. But remember that you have to save these things all the time, whatever configuration changes which we have seen. Correct? Otherwise it will not be able to possibly able to retrieve that. Correct? I hope it is clear to everyone what are the internal component and what is the booting process of Cisco devices. Correct? Now I will show you. If I go to my this Cisco packet tracer software, and if you look at the left hand side, I would be able to see that there is a router. So if I want to take any router from here, I can take it from here. There are multiple models are given. Okay, if I would like to go for a switch, I can take the switch from here. Now as per your curriculum, your maximum switch which you can go for it is 2960 or 2950. That is the part of your curriculum, or 3650 or 3660. These are the models which they are integrated with this. Correct? But don't worry, if you are using simulator, if you understand how switch works, it really doesn't matter for you. It would be same. Correct? Then I do have some hubs, I do have some wireless devices over here, I do have some security related devices. So every possible things I can have it over here. I do have end devices like computer, laptop, servers, everything I can do it with the help of this simulator. Now I would like to show you how we can see in the booting of our device. So what I did, I simply drag. Okay, I will do it one more time. I will delete this. Let's say I would like to take the router code as 2901. So I simply drag that router and put it onto the screen. Okay, once I put it onto the screen, you can see currently my router is booting. iOS load test image. Correct? So you can see all that particular compression. Now this is a very fast because this is an emulator. In real life you would be able to see that he is actually decompressing the image, what is the size of the image, everything would be loaded inside your that output. Correct? Understand, every time we are going to use the booting process, it is similar for router and your particular switch. So here is the booting process. Correct? You can see the system bootstrap version. Correct? This is Armon, that is nothing but our ROM version is explanatory. After that, we will be able to see that iOS image. That means ROM understand where is the iOS image. It is the part of your flash card. So he will try to decompress the image. That means he is actually loading the image from that particular flash card to your particular memory. Correct? Then after that particular process is done, then my process would be started with understanding the Nvram. You can see the Cisco iOS software. Now current version is 15.1. That is the iOS software which they are using. Correct? Now this is complete process. You will be able to see. Now this is a simulator type of thing, but they will try to understand. Okay, this is almost the same thing. You can see this is a Nvram size. Okay, this is the size which is used currently. Now this is the flash card size. What is the processor name? Okay, how many type of gigabyte Ethernets are connected? Okay, what is the RAM configuration? Everything loaded over here.
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Correct? So this is the process which is happening while you're booting your system. Correct? So let's do some practice. Start doing the practice on this. I would say I will delete this. Okay. Now if you can see that if the font size is very what you can say very small, you can change the font size from here actually. Okay. Now if I would like to go ahead, I can change the background as well because it's a white background. So I will change it. If I want to go to the preferences, I will go to the font. iOS text would be white. Okay. I said apply. Now this is what I am doing. Now this is nothing to do with your thing. Now let's do that. Let's create a small local area connection. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a small local area connection. Correct? The small local area connection would be which we would like to do it. So we would like to set up small LAN network. Okay? This is what we are going to do it. So we don't have any particular router at this moment. We are not supposed to think about router. We just need to create a small local area connection. Correct? Let's say I do have 4 computers and I want to create a LAN. Correct? So what I'm supposed to do, I will take the switches. Okay, I will take one switch. This is my switch. Correct? Now I'm going to connect 4 different computers to this switch. So I will say this is a first computer, this is a second computer. Either you can drag and drop it. I used to have a habit to click on it. So this is what I can do. So this is my first computer. Okay. Okay, this is my second computer. These are the 4 computers, and for these 4 computers I would like to connect together and create a LAN. Now if I want to connect with the hub also, I do have an option called as hub. Okay, we do have a legacy devices over here. We do have a hub, but you know what is the difference between switch and hub, correct? Now tell me, what type of cable should I use over here? Should I use straight through cable? Should I use crossover cable? Should I use optical fiber? Now optical fiber do have some option. Should I use a phone cable? Should I use coaxial cable? Correct. What type of cable should I use in between two different devices? What type of cable should I use it? Any guesses? We have seen in the cabling, if I would like to connect two different devices, what type of cable should I use? Any guesses? Anyone knows about? Anyone remember? Is it a straight cable or is it a cross cable? Absolutely right. It is a straight cable. Good one. Okay. So definitely we used to connect a straight cable, correct? So do we have a straight cable over here? Yes, this is a copper straight cable. So I can take the wire, I will say connect it to the fast Ethernet port on the switch and connect it to the fast Ethernet port on your computer, correct? Similarly, take the wire, connect it to the fast Ethernet port of the switch. The other wire could be the fast Ethernet. Okay, now you can see I mismatched the wire, correct? I connected one is a straight wire, and by mistake I connected one into the cross wire. Now let's see what happened. Okay, this wiring, you can see this both are become green. Why? Because I connected the right wire. But if I keep waiting for this one to be green, it is not technically possible at all, because the wire which we have connected, it's mismatch. Now it is saying green, but if you try to communicate it, it won't happen, correct? Okay, so what we can do over here, we do have a delete option over here. So we can delete this wire if we want, correct? So if I say, okay, I will delete this wire. Once again, I will go to the straight wire, connect it to the fast Ethernet, connect it to the port number 2. This is the right wire. Then go ahead, fast Ethernet, connect it to the fast Ethernet 3. Correct. Now, if you are confused regarding the wire, in simulator itself, they are giving the option called as automatically choose connection type as well. Correct. Now remember that, Sushmita, we cannot use crossover cable. Cross cable only use if I would like to connect similar devices. Correct. That is very, very important. Remember that. Okay. So if I would like to choose this automatic option, I forget that which wire I want to connect. Now regarding simulator I'm talking about, simply connect this automatic option. This automatically option will choose the wire automatically. So sometime while doing the practicing as well, you don't need to bother about the wiring. Let automatic choose option, select it. He will choose that particular option for you. Correct. Now you can see I have connected 4 different computers and I have created a small local area connection. Correct. Now, are they able to communicate with each other at this moment of time? No, because we need to provide some IP address, correct? So what is the first step we should do it? We need to provide some IP address to your devices. Correct. Now, what IP address should I provide then? Now, you guys are going to tell me what type of IP address should I provide. Now, I just want 4 computers to be connected. Correct. Should I use class A, class B, class C? If I want to use it, which should I use? Whether I use public IP address, whether we can use private IP address. Okay, class C is the appropriate one. Okay, but I want private IP address. Correct. Everyone is correct. Class C private IP address. But once again, in class C, how many IP address I am getting? Total 256. Correct. Usable would be how much? Minus 2. 254. Am I right? Yesterday we have seen this. Correct. Now starting IP address would be 192.168.1.0 to 192.168.1.255. But I cannot use the first and last IP address because first IP address represent my entire LAN, because this is what? This is my network ID. Correct? 192.168.1.0. This is my network ID. This would be my broadcast IP address. Why? Because if I would like to broadcast anything, I'm not sending one by one. Correct? Broadcasting would be happen. I will simply send a broadcast message to my broadcast ID. So my broadcast ID would be 192.168.1.255. So actual range which is usable, it's 192.168.168.1.1 to the last IP address would be 25. Correct? Can I do the subnetting as well? Yes, I can subnet it the way I want to use it. Even I can divide this network into the smaller chunk. Currently, this network would be what? This is a class full or class less. What I can call this network for? Is it a class full or is it a class less? 100% it is a class full because I have not done any subnetting on the top of this IP address till so far. Correct? If I done subnetting this, then it will be a classless, and classless is nothing which we can use it for CIDR methodology. Correct? Then I need to provide this every computer. Correct? Now, to set the IP address on the computer, we know that we need to go to the network and sharing center. Correct? We need to go to the TCP IP properties. Am I right? We can go to the open network and sharing center, or you can go to the network connection properties. Then if I go to the Ethernet, I will go to the network and sharing center. This is one way to go it. If you want, you can go through the control panel as well. Change adapter settings. I will go to the network connection, right click on it, go to the properties. Okay, go to this and choose this option called as use following IP address. Correct? Now this is what we are doing normally if I would like to set a static IP address. Correct? However, everything which we are doing in a simulator, in simulator, to provide the IP address to the computer is completely different. Okay, but in real life you have to follow the same one, the one which I told you, correct? But in simulator it's little bit different. You just need to click on this, correct? Go to the option called as desktop. Here I will get the option called as IP configuration, correct? Here I am going to put the IP address 192.168.1.100. Subnet mask would be automatically picked up. It is 255.255.255.0. I will close this settings. Desktop. I will say 192.168.1.1. I will say 2. Okay. I would close this. I will go to desktop. I will say 192.168.1.3. Desktop 192.168.1.4. Now this is pretty simple because this is simulator, but in real life such kind of things is not available for you. You have to follow the same procedure. But in simulator, this is how you can set the IP address, correct? Now in normal command prompt on your computer, we are going to the run box, we are typing cmd, and we will be getting the command prompt over here, correct? And I will type the ping command, traceroute command, anything which I want. But in simulator, if I go click on it, I got the command prompt over here directly. If I click on it, I will get a command prompt. If I can see, the IPv4 address is currently this one. I said 100. Okay, I will check. Is it 100? I said yes, it is the 100. I would say 1. Okay, because the rest of the IP address which I choose, it is 2, 3, 4, 5. So it has to be. It's not compulsory. It is also going to be work, but in order to memorize the things. Now, will it be possible to ping from this computer to another computer? Yes. 192.168.1.2.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.